Hello everybody, just going to smudge, speak to the spirit of Telstra, spirit of my laptop, spirit of NBN, that I have a beautiful, perfect connection for our readings tonight. And then we'll just smudge the cards. How has everybody been? I haven't been on for a while. Last week I had bad connection, and then I was actually ill and my voice wasn't crash hot. And not only was the voice bad, but I never do readings while I feel like I'm not on my best. So how are you all? I've missed you all. Let me just put that white sage out. Okay, it's not wanting to go out. There we go. So how's everyone been doing? Before I get in with my readings, I just wanted to tell you about, you'll probably see it scrolling across the bottom. For those who have a business or know of somebody who has a small business, I was at an expo yesterday. Quite tired today. All expos are quite exhausting. So it was a business expo, and I networked and got to meet some really amazing people. And as my expo exclusive package, so what it is you get a 90-minute content consultation. So if you have already got a business, you might be a Reiki master, you might be putting out there doing your own readings, you might be a acupuncturist, you could be a bookkeeper, and you don't have to be in the spiritual realm, and you might not be getting clients. So I'm really fantastic at creating content that keeps you really focused. Now, you all know that I work with the archetypes, so I am very aware of the procrastinator and the perfectionist archetype. So I sit you down, we share a Zoom, and I share the screen, and I take you through my formula of how to stay really focused on your goals and how to create content that's going to really connect with your clients. So if your messaging has not been working, then I'm really good at that. And you get, for the 500, you get the 2 online courses that I have, which is 2 of the modules out of my group coaching curriculum. And that is all about, one is the Content Creatrix online program, and the other one is all about your marketing basics. It's lifetime access to those online courses, and I am loading up tutorials and information all the time. So in my coaching program, I've got some beautiful divine clients at the moment, and if they ask me a question because they're freaking out about something to do with business or something to do with the archetypes, then I will just load up something too, because I know that the questions will be repeated. Example, last week one of my ladies couldn't get a PayPal invoice to work. So I filmed a tutorial and uploaded it to the back end of the website. So I do a lot of supportive work, there's no question too basic. So for 500 Aussie dollars, I think that's an absolute bargain, because you get that 90-minute consult and you walk away with mapped out content for a minimum of a week. Sometimes it's a month's worth of content, depending on how much time that first part takes. And then you have that access to those online courses for the rest of your life. So as more stuff gets loaded up, you get that for free. So if any of you have a small business, or you know of somebody who is in this and their content and their messaging has stalled, I'll be running this promotion for only 1 week. It's because I was at the Expo, and it's just an Expo exclusive. So I just wanted to get that out there. Yes, I do the readings, but I have my group coaching program. I've got 6 divine ladies in there at the moment, and I can onboard at any time. So I can accept clients at any time with that. But I do these content consulting as well, because that's my passion. So let's have a little look at what's coming through. We have got Raylene from Queensland. I am in beautiful Queensland too. And let me just move that so I can see. Let's have a look what's come through for Raylene. What message does Raylene need to hear? Okay, so you have the Castle card first, Raylene. So that usually indicates something material wise. So are you just trying to build a business, or have you got money problems, or are you trying to build a relationship? So when this one comes through, you're literally building the foundation for something, and you're working on building it and setting up your walls, setting up your boundaries, setting up your intention. I'm getting that it's more financial, but I could be wrong, because this Castle card can also be building relationships. So I'll just wait until I see an answer from you. Is it business and money concerns? Are you having abundance issues? Or is it relationship? What are you building at the moment, Raylene? Both money problems and relationship problems. Okay. Has it been a bit of a dark time? Because you have 2 of the harder cards that come next. But I say they're harder cards, but at the same time, it's usually when it comes to an apex. So what I mean by that is you have the Destroyer. Now, yes, it sounds full on, but this archetype card comes in when we are ready to have an epiphany. So you have something that's within that gets destroyed, like an illusion. So if you are having money issues, and you're having debt issues, and you're having abundance, then the Destroyer comes into your field, and you have this moment where something's revealed, and you go, aha. And even though it sounds harsh, it's usually a welcome. It's like having the veils lifted, and you're like, I see what I need to do now, right? You have the Poet card that's come in there as well. So a Poet card is a bridging card, and it's usually where you have gone into a bit of a dark time. So if this is relationship-wise, you might have an epiphany about, oh, well, this is actually what's causing the problem in the relationship. Or if it's about the money, you're like, this is why I'm having abundancy issues. And you have this epiphany, and an illusion is destroyed. The Poet is telling me that you have been through, it hasn't been the easiest of times recently, and this whole journey hasn't been the easiest, because the Poet comes in when we experience the harder sides of life, the darker journeys, but quite often we come back from that and we are able to help people with it. So you know, yes, your stereotypical poet would write prose. Well, these days there's not as many poets, but there is healers, there's coaches. You can clear up your own family lineage. You can do all kinds of stuff. And because the poet is a bridging card, you're connecting from source. You're getting those messages with your intuition. So deeply follow your intuition at the moment, Raylene, and actually call in this destroyer. When this comes into my readings, and I've had the destroyer on and off for about 4 months now. So when it comes in and I'm working on something, I'm like, all right, guys, I am ready, willing, and able to move through this block, but you've got to show me what needs to be destroyed. What illusion am I holding on to? And it comes in sometimes like a wrecking ball. Sometimes it's just a flip of the switch, and you're like, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is such and such. And you have like this epiphany, and it can actually be not as like wrecking ball. And you'll know it'll either be the relationship, or it's going to be the money, or your relationship can be causing the money problem. If you've been like having an on again, off again relationship, or you're like, should I leave him or should I not, or it's been up in the air, quite often this can be just that I'm leaving, or I'm staying, or I'm going to go see a therapist, or you'll have some kind of an epiphany moment. It's usually a very decisive energy and a very decisive archetype. So if you have been going back and forth, should I leave him, or go back and forth, sometimes this is it. End of chapter, done and dusted. So it can be very final as well. But I get a sense of relief actually from the energy of these archetypes and in this reading. So even though these cards sound on the darker side, it actually is quite positive. So I think that you're going to get a lot of relief from these epiphanies and these moments, if that makes sense. You've gone, yes, relationship after 20 years. So did that resonate? Do you understand how it can come through, and the archetypal energy of this, even though it might sound like a wrecking ball, it can also be like a really positive, I'm not going to seesaw back and forth, I'm going to make a decision kind of thing. And it's with that decisiveness comes that relief. Does that make sense, gorgeous? Just need to take a sip. Oh, that's a good cup of tea. It's a very good cup of tea. Okay, so interesting work, not paying right wages and sorting it out. Back pay, yes. Okay. It's you'll know when someone works with the destroyer archetype and it comes into their field and it comes in, most people go, aha, and I understand. So you when it happens, you'll know. My white sage just doesn't want to go out at the moment. It's a piece of white sage and it's really curled up. So it's just like, I'm not going out. Okay. So let's see what's going on for the beautiful Annette. I nearly called you Antoinette. It's a very old name. Okay, so Annette, you got the heart, which is self-love and self-nurturing. Okay, so Annette, you have a card which is in the middle. It's an initiation card, and it's not one of the fun ones, but I want you to embrace it. So what's happening is this is all about self-love, self-nurturing, doing the things which bring you soul nourishment. So if you are in a workplace or a relationship, a friendship, or with a family member that's causing issues, or you could have a really toxic inner critic, like a sabotaging pattern, self-hatred, or you're perfectionist, or you procrastinate and might be out of control. You might be a poly pleaser and you are just always saying yes to everyone, even though you're getting really drained. When this comes through with Thanatos beside it, there means that there's something that you're doing which is detrimental to your self-love and self-nurturing. Whether it is you're doing it to yourself or somebody's doing it to you, a relationship or a working relationship, etc. Thanatos is the initiation card of death. So don't go into freak out mode, even though it does look like a dark card. When this one comes into my field, just like with the Destroyer, I embrace it, and I really encourage you in it to do the same thing. Ask the universe, ask your angels, ask your guides, show me what needs to be let go of. So the energy of the Destroyer comes in like a wrecking ball. The Death card is usually slower, and it's removing layer upon layer of things that you need to let go of that is detrimental to your self-love. You have an absolutely beautiful card beside it, which is the Crone. So the Crone is a bridging card as well. It's the wise woman in the forest. It's knowing deep in your bones the wisdom of the situation. Now, because it's about the self-love, then there's something that needs to die off, and to get that wisdom in it, that's indicating to me that this is going to be a really personal journey. So if there's something that's occurring to you and you kind of know that you've been doing something, and it could be something like you lie a lot, or you gossip a lot, or you're not speaking up for people, or you're in a relationship that's abusive, or you have a friend which you just let that friend get away with so much stuff because it's easy to deal with that than the drama of trying to get out of the friendship. There's going to be something there which, with that Thanatos energy, is coming to the end. And don't fight the energy of this initiation. There is only 8 initiation cards in the entire deck. So, and Thanatos doesn't come through that often. But when it does, don't be freaked out. Work with the energy. Embrace change. Embrace the things that need to be let go so that you really and utterly love yourself. If you have body image issues, or you don't love your hair or your face or your boobs or your body or anything else like that, the heart card can also be very much about that as well. It's self-love on all levels. So you're going to be going on a journey of loving yourself more and accepting your power as a crone, and having that wisdom. You don't, like, the archetype of the crone is not, hey, when I get to my 50s or 60s, I'm a crone. No, you can have an 8-year-old crone, right? It's about accepting the wisdom, your maturity, you're being that bridge. Quite often people who have the crone all the time, they don't even have to do anything. They just sit there and people come to them with, wanting advice, wanting help. So because it's coming after that Thanatos initiation, it's going to be really accepting self-love on all levels. You're 65. That doesn't mean anything with the Crone archetypes. Age means nothing. I know some absolutely vicious, awful 65-year-olds. I worked with one. It was just like, she acted like she was 16 and she was a nasty piece of work. So she's not in her Crone. She's still in her maiden, you know? And so age is not an indicator of wisdom at all. We were raised to think that way, and it was so shocking for me when I had to work with this woman who at that time was the same age as my mother, and she treated me and the rest of the staff appallingly. And I was so confronted because I'd been raised to respect my elders, and here's someone that looks soft and sweet, and instead she was a vile bitch. So it was bizarre, like so confronting for me. As I've then gone on and understood archetypes, I've realized that because of the sheer amount of lying she did to herself, she could never be in that energy, and unless she was willing to be really truthful about herself, if that makes sense. So there's going to be something there. You do love yourself. So what about your relationships? The heart is the heart. So is there something that you've been called to do for a while? Have you been called to be of service, to help people understand how to love themselves? Thanatos will come in if there is something there. Listening to your heart, being of service with it, loving the body. Like, it's so multi-leveled. So there's going to be something there, because Thanatos doesn't come through unless there is something to be healed and looked at. Like, if, say, a new relationship was to come in, and there is a relationship wanting to come through, is there something that you need to let go of in order to welcome that relationship in, for example? So it'll be somewhere in that heart area, self-love, heart, relationship, body image, or service. Those are all with that heart archetype. So I'm curious to see what will come forward for you. But it'll bring you some further wisdom because of that Crone card at the end is the outcome one, which is really, really positive. Just going to take a sip. Won't be 1 second. Have you wanted, you said you're not in a relationship. Have you wanted a relationship, Annette? Have you been looking for it? Have you been closed off to it? You don't want the drama? Or have you been quietly going, I'd like a bit more companionship, or something along that lines as well? And are all the relationships within, like, your family, friendships, social structure, work structure, any of those kinds of things, are they all healthy? Okay. Oh, well, just ignore the reading then, darling, if it's not making sense. That's what came through for you. Either it'll make sense in the next couple of weeks, or if it's not meant to be. I haven't had anyone come through with Thanatos in their field before that hasn't gone through some kind of an experience. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, gorgeous. Okay, Hey Jess, would love a reading tonight, please. Let's have a look, Hope. Oh, messages. Yeah. The nectar. Beautiful. The castle. What does Hope need to hear? Okay, so Hope, you have the nectar. So this is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck, and it's really about that soul joy. So doing the things that make you feel not just happy, like feel complete. So quite often when we're being of service, we can feel really complete. Sometimes it can be when you've accomplished something or other and you get that, you know, I'm living my purpose and my passion kind of feeling. So it's this thing that you feel really, really nourished about that. That's fine, Antoinette. We will. I don't hold any need to be right. I wouldn't be in integrity if I was to hold that energy, and I can only interpret the cards that come forth, and then go from there. So, Hope, the nectar. It's about doing those things that aligns us with that passion and purpose, if that makes sense. When the castle card coming beside it, the castle is about building the foundation for something. So with the nectar being right beside it, it can refer to building a business or building a relationship or building something that's going to nourish you. I don't necessarily get like a financial aspect, Hope. It could be with building a business, but it's the nectar energy is what's I'm getting the most strength, which is doing that thing that you love, doing more things that nourish you. So it could be an indication of building better habits, things that are going to support a happier you. So if you have any sabotaging patterns, or if you have anything that you feel like you need to let go of, or any fears and doubts where you pursue that nectar, that energy of stuff, then you're to work on that pattern. But the castle energy could be if you have been thinking of starting a business, then this is really very good energy to be doing that, because it's the energy of building. The castle is laying a solid foundation and building really solid boundaries. So that can come across on businesses, friendships, relationships. Like on an archetypal level, the castle can indicate multiple areas of your life, if that's making sense. But it needs to tie in with that soul joy. My very first daughter is due to be born on Wednesday after 2 boys. I'm hoping I feel complete. I love being a mum and can't wait to build my relationship with her. Well, that's beautiful. The nectar is soul nourishment. So if you've been looking, if you've been really wanting a daughter, then that's definitely going to nourish your soul. The castle can literally mean nesting as well. So building that safe castle take a lot of joy in you know, in the nursery. Just lap every moment of it up. Just if you really love being a mother, then I can really feel that. That's really lovely. And you have the offering, which is ironically enough, it's when we sacrifice something in order to receive it. So it literally the pain of birth, but we receive the child. You know what I mean? So when this ties into if you have a fear or a doubt of something, you need to release that fear and doubt so that you can manifest. But literally, I think this is talking about the pain of childbirth and all of those aspects. That's the sacrifice, and then you get that beautiful child. Really, that nectar card. Just really embrace nesting, really embrace and enjoy every moment, you know, and sometimes we forget to slow down and accept those moments, you know what I mean? And I think that that's really appropriate once you've told me that with these 3 cards. They can tie in with that, but that nectar card of that soul joy, I just think that's beautiful. And when you look at your child, I can really imagine you tapping into that energy. So that's really beautiful. And and congratulations. I just enjoy it. That's really beautiful. You're covered in goosebumps. I'm sure when you're looking at your little girl, you're going to be covered in goosebumps. And just that soul contentment, that's just really, really beautiful. So let me just take a listen. You've always wanted a daughter after your relationship with your mum. Oh, that's going to be so special. That's really lovely. Alrighty. Beautiful Jenna. Would love to hear any messages. What does Jenna need to hear? So you have quite a lovely reading, Jenna. It's very spiritual based or very going inwards. So you have the ocean card. So the ocean is to look beneath the surface. And sometimes we can be a bit scared of the ocean at the nighttime because it's dark and you're like, what's down there? What's beneath the surface? So when this comes up in a reading, if it was to come beside a card which is indicating that there's going to be a bit of a struggle, well, then I would say you're looking into your own shadow. But you have really positive cards beside them. So I don't think it's necessarily a lot of deep shadow work. It's more just retreating and going within. You have the stone, which is just beautiful. It's really grounding. It's, I can weather any storm, you know, like that energy of the standing stones. They stand for thousands of years. They don't budge. No matter what storm, they can get struck by lightning. They can go through multiple storms. Nothing's going to move them a millimeter. So when this comes into a reading, it's like, I'm not budging. I'm going to stay really deeply rooted in the ground, and I'm not going to move. I'm going to be really grounded into my task. So you've got the mountain next, which is going within. The wisdom is within. We often can go within to create. So if you've been wanting to create something, work out something, birth something, discover something, if you're studying something, these kinds of things, this card is like a card reading that's telling you to go within, because your gems are going to be within, your wisdoms are going to be within, you're going to be really grounded in it. If you have been thinking of studying any kind of modalities, perfect energy to be doing that. The other thing that I do feel compelled to say this, Jenna, you know how they say like the lonely mountain? Sometimes we can be so driven to climb to the summit of something, so we can have a task, we can have something that we're wanting to do, an apex, and we get so competitive to get to that summit with this thing that we're wanting to obtain that we can end up getting a bit lonely. So yes, it's asking you to go within, and to be really internal and look beneath, and that, but at the same time, don't alienate yourself, or don't get so focused that you become the lonely mountain. Does that make sense, Jenna? So have you been wanting to birth anything, create anything, study anything, those kinds of things? Because this is a really beautiful reading, but it's a very internal one, it's a very personal one. There's no real struggles, but it's that call to go within, so have you been reflective as well, or have you been called to do something on the spiritual level? Hey, Nicole. So it does make sense. Perfect. I get no sense of like struggle, nothing hard to come through, nothing like that, Jenna. So that's a really good indication. But just go within. Your gems are within, and anything that you want to birth, just fully create it before you launch it. Be really happy with it. Go inside, go deep inside your mountain to find your gems. Okay, Nicole, what needs to come up for the beautiful Nicole? The Mystic. It's a nice one, Nicole. The Mirror. So this is overall quite lovely, Nicole. You have a little warning card in the middle, but you start off with that Mystic. So the Mystic is very much about learning new spiritual things. So with the archetypes, for example, but quite often when it comes through, it's more than that. It's like a compulsive energy to learn things more deeply about yourself, spiritual revelations. You can be all of a sudden, drawn to learning about archetypes. You could be reading a book on this. You might be listening to this podcast. You might feel this energy of like, I'm consuming lots and lots of information. It usually comes through with a lot of esoterical concepts. So it's a very beautiful energy. When it comes into someone's field, it can be quite a compulsive energy. So you are perfect. Just allow that to ride out. By that I mean is sometimes a mystic can stay in someone's field for a year or two. I had the mystic in my field from 2012 to 2014, maybe even 15. And I cannot begin to tell you the amount of things that I was learning of this book that, it was quite, it was exhausting but exhilarating. They went hand in hand. I was absolutely buzzing with all this spiritual information and esoterical knowledge, but at the same time, I couldn't stop. It's like, must consume like a vacuum, So really, really quite potent energy. And just embrace it and just follow your intuition and learn and learn and learn. You have the Mirror, which is a little bit of a warning card. The Mirror can be three things, basically. A toxic environment with toxic people. It can be people that are sending projections towards you. They can be outright bitchy in a toxic environment. The second thing it can be is you're toxic towards yourself. By that I mean you might be overly critical about yourself, or you might be stuck in a sabotaging pattern, or your perfectionist is out of control to the point that you almost punish yourself, or those kinds of aspects. The third thing is it can be psychic attack. So when this card comes up for anybody, I sometimes will get drawn to, it's this. And I kind of feel like I needed to warn you about all three aspects. So look at your relationships. Is there any around you that are really detrimental? Look at yourself. Are you being, nasty towards yourself, judging yourself, or all those kinds of things? And how's your energy field? Are you sleeping okay? Are you having weird dreams? Any of those things. Remember, we're all sovereign beings. But if we are under psychic attack, or if we are being toxic towards ourselves, or we're in a toxic environment, we have the responsibility as sovereign beings to also look after ourselves, if that makes sense. There's plenty of energetical tools that you can learn to help protect yourself. And, even something as simple as charging crystals with specific intents. If you have to work or go near people who are toxic, you need to be doing something if you can't get out of those relationships to protect yourself. Some energy routines, crystals, affirmations, essential oils, anything. Does that make sense, gorgeous? How we do have a level of responsibility. Your third card, you're in it and reading 5 books at a time and can't find time to sleep. Well, it's a hard one, Nicole, because when I was in states like that, it was almost a bit manic with that mystic. I still got up and I still functioned. It's like the mystic can feed your energy field. It's that potent. But don't forget to be to nourish yourself, you know, so that you can stick with it longevity. You know, you can go without sleep, or you can be in that mystic energy for a little while, but you will burn out. And I'll be honest, when I was really active in my field, I did do that. I would burn out for a couple of months and just kind of sleep for a week. And in our morning you, it's quite normal if your mystic's really strong. You have the heart. So just like I was describing to the other lady, the heart is it's so many things. It's self-love, it is body image, it's loving and nurturing yourself, it's being open-hearted, it can be of service. It's such a card which you kind of just say self-love, but it can be really so many different things. So I think being with the mystic and the mirror and stuff, it's that journey of self-love, self-empowerment, self-confidence, all of those things. So it's a really beautiful reading. You should be really happy with it, and continue with your mystic energy. When it's in your fields, it's compulsive. Keep consuming more and more information, and you'll know when the mystic leaves, because suddenly you're like, oh, now it's time to start doing this. You know what I mean? You're learning to love yourself. Yes, perfect. So just with that mirror card, that's got that little bit of a warning energy to it. So those three things. Learn, look at ways that you can protect yourself. If you're struggling with that area, just remind me in the group, and I could suggest a few energy routines and those kinds of things as well. So but you need to be looking at those areas. But it's a beautiful reading, and it's showing a lot of growth, Nicole. That's fantastic. All right, let's smudge again. You're most welcome, Nicole. That's gorgeous. Okay. So, beautiful Connie, relationship guidance. We're going to see what comes through. Sometimes archetypes can be things that you need to look at within yourself, and sometimes it can be about the relationship, and sometimes it can be about the other person. So we'll see what comes through, and we'll have a little peek. The seed, planting a seed, not too many things. Wisdom. So are you in a relationship currently, Connie, or you're wanting a relationship? The Creator. So you have three really highly creative cards. So I assumed by your question that you were in a relationship, but these three cards can be taken of creating a relationship as well. So are you wanting to call in a relationship, or are you in one? Okay, so you have the very first card is the seed. Now, you have your little seed that you're wanting to plant. So when you're building a relationship, sometimes people, when this energy is involved, it can be like wanting to focus on too many things at one time. Like, this might sound drastic, but this is an analogy. You might go, oh, I want commitment. I want a child. I want a house. I want this. I want that. I want to build this future. I want this. I want that. And it's like you can see the potential for so many different things, or wanting so many different things. So this card, when it comes through, it's highly creative. It's its ability to see multiple things that you want from a relationship. And it's that wanting to focus one thing at a time. The actual name, the seed, if you're to plant 100 seeds and then have to nurture them and grow them and all those different things, then you'd be exhausted. You've only got a little bit of water to tend to them, and you get this spindly forest. Whereas if you just concentrate on growing a couple of seeds at a time, you have like this really solid forest that you build slowly. So even if it's like something you're wanting to create within the, like say you might want more romance, or you might want more one-on-one time, or you might want less drama, or less video gaming, or all those different things. Instead of trying to address all of it at once, you can just literally focus in to, okay, I want a date night, and then implement that and grow that. The really interesting things beside them is the crone and the creator. So the crone is the wisdom to not make any past mistakes. The wisdom to like know, I'm going to make this decision for the right reasons. I'm not going to go into nagging. I'm not going to go into shame or blame. I'm not going to put up with this behavior. Like, it's a deep wisdom card, but it's also the wisdom to know which seed to grow, which thing to focus in. And the creator is it's that creator energy. So you could have a really beautiful relationship if you work with the crone, go into that wisdom, go into that energy of being wise, and then don't let the seed energy get away from you. Don't get too impulsive. Don't try and do too much at once. Really bring it back in and focus on the fundamental things that are going to bring you nourishment and love. And you haven't been in a relationship for 10 years. So you're a different person from, who you were 10 years ago. So maybe that crone energy is also asking you to kind of look deep and go, okay, so the Connie that is now, what are her needs? What are her wants? What are her desires? What is fundamental? And then growing the things, being really mature about it, having, like, say you might have had old communication issues, and in your past, communication might have been a really bad issue. Well, you bring in that crone and you bring in that creator energy, and you're like, I'm going to commit to having a really clear communication so that I feel safe and the partner feels safe to be able to communicate back and forth. You might decide, I really do want more romance. So you need to be able to focus in on that, created, have that maturity, and don't bring any old preconceived stuff, because the crone, that the energy of that knows better. And to really go to the the meat and the bones of the situation. Like, am I gonna get, don't let myself get offended or go into these old stories. Just ask, what did you mean by that? You know what I mean? That's the energy. But it's a really beautiful reading. It's highly creative. And if you're willing to work and not go too fast, just slowly plant those seeds, take your time, I think this could be a really beautiful relationship. And it's more mature, it's more you, it addresses your needs, you know? So I think it's beautiful. And no hiccups I get, no nothing. The only warning is don't try and plant too many seeds at one time, you know? So you got yes, definitely, perfect. So I'm glad that that resonates and it sits well with you, because it's a really lovely reading. So let's have a little look. We'll do a little bit more smudge. Would have hoped for a card for bed, but pills kicked on. Good night. Good night, Jess. Sorry, darling. Sometimes my things just move really quickly, and sometimes I don't even know how I miss people. Yes, this is so perfect. I believe this is the right man for me. I'm happy with slow. Perfect. And really look at the things that mean for you, your needs. Use that wisdom of that crone, and you know, if clear communication is important, then you make that a focus, or romance, etc. Yeah, really beautiful. Okay. Okay, Stacey. Would love some clarity on what is causing me to be so anxious. Well, let's draw some cards and see what's going on archetypally. What is causing Stacey to feel so anxious? The eternal child. Oh, maybe. The cave. Oh, my computer just did a weird thing. Where am I? There we are. Sorry, I just made everyone small for a moment. Okay, Stacey. Okay, Stacey. You have the eternal child, which has came up. Now, this is one of those archetypes which, if I could get everyone to be taught this in school, it would change everything for the planet. Thank you so much. Communication is the key. That's perfect, Connie. I'm really happy. Hi, Zeta. So, Stacey, the eternal child is people who can innately be quite optimistic. They can be joyful, childlike, see the best in everybody, and they can just hold a higher vibration easily because they tap straight into that pure eternal joy, an eternal child essence. And what happens is society comes along and shits on those people because we don't like it when we're in our grumpy, frowny, I hate adulting, I hate this, I hate that. And then along comes this person who's optimistic and is effortlessly joyful. And we try and squash that. So we say to people, we say to them, grow up. You're being silly. Stop doing that, right? So when the eternal child comes up, Stacey, it's either you are an eternal child and life has been shitting on you because you are awesome. And remember, the eternal child is one of the superpowers on the planet. We need them because they can just be optimistic where other people have to work at being optimistic. So when this card comes in, it's either an indicator that you have the eternal child archetype or you need to call it in. You need to start calling in optimism, stop seeing things as too hard, needing to bring in joy. And I mean actively bringing into your day the things that are going to support you, nourish you, bring a smile to your dial, and maybe releasing anything in your life that is not doing so. So, are you somebody who is an eternal child and you have been quite optimistic and people have told you to stop being childish, to grow up, or do you need to call that energy in? So which one are you, gorgeous? I'll take a sip while I'm waiting. Did I lose Stacey? Maybe she thought I wasn't going to do her. Oh, here we go. I feel like I've been, but of recent, I feel like I'm not so much. So the people who hold the eternal child energy can get sometimes depressed. They can get, they think there's something wrong with them, or because people keep telling them over and over and over to grow up, or to stop being silly, or you're too optimistic. Sometimes they can get stuck into people pleasing because they're joyful. It's easy to do something or other, so they can say yes more often than they should. You need to understand that there's nothing wrong with these people. They are actually going through life as the superpowers. They're effortlessly optimistic. Everybody else has to work that way. So all these other people are telling the eternal child that they're wrong. They need to grow up. They need to be more mature. They need to do these things. But the eternal child needs to realize it's actually the vast majority of the population that's really wrong. And sometimes those people can be vicious to the eternal child. And anyone listening to this who's ever told someone to grow up, stop being silly, all those different things, you need to take a reality check. Because it's those people who, on an energetic level, hold the frequency of us all in place so much easier, because they filter so much easier. They can be, in any given moment, they can be optimistic when everybody else has to work their way through their sabotaging patterns to get to be optimistic. They just are. So do you understand how potent that is? If you are naturally optimistic, you are so much more beneficial to the planet than the people who are pessimistic, because then they have to work to shift their shit. So it's a paradigm shift in thinking. And when I'm working with sabotaging and I'm working with archetypes and I'm teaching in my group coaching, this is something that I have to really, because sometimes they can come quite wounded to the course, because they've been told that they're not enough over and over and over, when they actually have to have that paradigm shift and go, no, I'm actually more enough than you guys. You're all the ones that have got the issues. You don't like somebody who's different. So you've been shitting on me for the majority of my life, right? So you have got two very interesting cards beside it. You have the Cave, which is going deep internal. And then you've got Anima Mundi, which is an initiation card. And it's the spirit of all things. It's a highly spiritual card. And I actually feel like, Stacey, you're on like an internal journey of self-empowerment, learning to be in your sovereign, to understand your strengths. Sometimes when people have Anima Mundi and it's a call to really understanding your place in the universe and the potency of your spiritual path, you up level, you become, your intuition becomes stronger. A gift or a talent might come online. You can have entire personality shifts. It's a really, and it's an amazing, it's a positive initiation card, but it's perceptions of self changing. So your anxiety could be because you feel like your life is going to be changing soon, or you're being called to go down a different path, change a career, become more spiritual, learn a modality, learn how to heal, learn how to teach. Something's being called to you and you're like, I don't know if I want to do that. You know what I mean? So I get like it's like a self-empowerment and know thyself kind of energy. So it's a deep journey on understanding yourself better. And it's not just self-love. It's like understanding your powers more, your sovereign self, your personality traits, the things that make you awesome, the things that you can do, basically learning your archetypes, you know, and playing to your strengths. There's no use for anybody to be doing something that's not part of their archetypal skill set. So what I mean by that is, if you don't have the teacher, you shouldn't be a teacher. If you have the healing archetype, but you're not healing, you're off doing something else, you're literally going to feel empty, or like a part of you's missing. You know, or you'll keep getting your ass kicked by the universe until you go do what you're meant to be doing. So when I say know thyself, work on your archetypes. Really discover the things that are your superpowers, the things that you do easily, things that come naturally to you, the compliments that people give you, because that's going to be an indication of what you should be doing more of. But remember, that initiation card, there can be all new parallel shifts and different things happening. And for that eternal child, you need to start consciously bringing in more joy. If you start to get anxious, take a pause and go, well, what can I do that will nourish me, will make me happy? Do you know one of my go-tos is I go to the movies by myself. I don't have to entertain anyone. I go and I sit there and I get entertained. So sometimes it's something as simple as that, and it can just flip your energy because you're doing something that nourishes yourself and brings you joy. So start bolstering that eternal child. And if anyone's telling you to grow up, or you know, or is trying to see your eternal child as anything other than amazing, tell them to fuck off. I'm being serious. Be really strict about it, because everybody needs to respect the eternal child archetype for the work that they do on an energetic level that the 99% of the population is completely unaware of. So I've gone over time. I'm sending you all lots and lots of love. I hope that resonated, Stacey. I have in the link above my group and my Facebook page. I do lots of teachings about the archetypes and the different things, Stacey. So if you're drawn to archetypes and you think they could help, join the group. I'm always doing stuff in there. So, you know, there's usually weekly teachings and all kinds of stuff going on in my group. So I'm sending everyone lots of love. It's been really beautiful. And you everyone take care and have a fantastic week.